There's two parts to drawing water in comic books. The body of water and the reaction to whatever is moving in it. And each artist has their own way of drawing it. Check out Jack Kirby using his Kirby crackles. And Michael Turner has a very personal 3D version. Water is the topic of this month's stick figure challenge. I sent out this classic John Byrne sewer Wolverine to the participants and they had to make their own version. Added bonus difficulty of drawing the neck in this perspective. So before we go to the water tutorial, let's check this anatomy first. Did some muscle research and the traps have this boomerang shape and attached to the back of the neck. A bit of a puzzle. But I'm going to draw a woman in the water. They have much less outlines in the back of the neck, mainly just the spine and shoulder blades. Also a fold in the neck skin when looking back. And this is interesting how Michael Turner uses a hint of the traps in this back view, because this line is not a shoulder. Okay, let's speed through my figure. Boom. Boom! Need some of that Michael Turner in there. Alright then, water. This is a Dutch comic my kid brother had in the 90s, and I love the simple way that water is drawn here. Obviously inspired by Hokusai. And this might be sacrilege, but I actually prefer how the froth is done in Alfred, and even the shadows here. Here's how Joe Quesada does it. Did you catch the naughty subliminal message here? There's three ways to go for the still part. Frank Cho has jagged stripes on a background. Quesada goes the opposite, so he draws the black as blots, which then create the stripes because of the negative space, and he has them get smaller towards the back for added perspective effect. The Alfred is more complex, it kind of blends the two, so at one point you're thinking streaks, then transitioning to blots, then lighter colored streaks again, and it all has fades, which makes it look even cooler. Some artists use the lasso tool. If you keep pressing shift, you can very quickly draw those jagged sharp lines and then color them all at once. Check out this classic Jim Lee. And in this original page you see Scott Williams use the raster. Gotta cut out every shape with a knife on the page. It still has the outlines to the shapes though. And a perfect example of the blot technique. Then the classic standing in water circle ripple effect, starting with a perfect circle around the leg, but then getting more jagged as it goes out. Note the double circle, that's because of a drop coming from something, creating another pattern. So let's move to the splash. Here the key is thinking about the direction of the splash. A nice Frank Cho again, a guy falling in water, circle splash like a three-dimensional net. Gil Kane here, looking very much like Walt Simonson in my opinion. The opposite, a man coming out of the water, but a similar 3D net around the action. Added effect here is the shadows, all on the outside, which focuses our attention on the thing inside. John Buscema, also very cool directions. The flow of the wave crashing on the boat, and that monster's head as well. Great background flow. And for these three, the colorist basically does all the work. This one, no ink outlines at all on the still water part. The splash does have an outline though. Then here, this effect is easy to create, mixing colors around with the smudge tool. Experiment with big and small smudges to get the lines soft or crisp, and just keep adding paint. This one here is a bit of a mystery, but I think the idea is to have blots or bubbles, and then drop a shadow on them. And kind of outline them with the shadow as well. Looks kind of like it. So that would be my suggestion for this. Speaking of bubbles, that's the froth here, with ink outlines partially around the shape, so never full circles. Let me do that on my sewer dazzler. Cue the time lapse. A, B, C. Okay, dazzler in the sewer done. Let's check the original so I can learn from the master. Yeah, John Byrne's water looks great here. See how the color changes, give it dimension. I tried that here in the splash. I kind of hid my waves behind the dark edges. In the flats here you see how John Byrne just buries my line art. Here I tracked down the original inks. That says it all, right? But also how some trickery and fancy filters can help you out. Okay, let's check out the submissions of the challenge. Amazing stuff again this time. Start with this bad boy. I remember really liking Ultra's first submission last year for the Homage challenge. and wondering how he would handle backgrounds? Well, here's my answer. A bit loose and sketchy, but it works, especially with that light stick. The light is just perfect, darkest in the back and in the tunnel, and somehow he made the eyes glow as well. Water has jagged lines and blots and color differences. Yeah. Then Ferdia with this super fun take on the pose. T2 in lava, great eye effect. Highlight on the forehead and back from the lava as light source. He has the L-shaped traps, but my tip would be to break up the lines a bit more, like I mentioned in the punch video. Thinking about that line that can pass through. Maybe the same tip for Lucas on this delt. But man, it looks cool. The water is done very well. I can hear the splashing in my mind when I look at this. And the expression on the face is gold. Lewis here with a clean bullseye. Well, his suit won't be clean anymore when he gets out of the sewer. But yeah, nice clean outline style with a sharp two-tone. This just makes me happy. The grin, crazy eyes, the little knife. 3 simple waves and a big bold froth. I wouldn't change a thing. Benjamin with Green Bean, his original character. Also a Jack Kirby fan, I see. The water is minimal, but has enough flow to get the sense of movement. Rough hatching helps sell the dirty sewer feeling. But let me bring up this other one, because I want to mention the same tip for it. Sutter's Lizard. Amazing detail on this. You also feel the light hitting the center and going darker at the edges. I want to mention the coloring underneath on both of these. So you have your line art and you start coloring. Try to keep the colors in line with the directions though. So in Benjamin's I would break up this highlight on the waves a bit. Joey. Boom, color. Wow, I just noticed these are wounds in his delt. Ouch. Don't mess with this angry Conan. I love the bones instead of pipes here. Very funny touch. He did well looking at the John Byrne reference for the water shapes and froth, and even the color, looking good. Moosey Stool with 2 entries. Of course this White Queen is my favorite. Parker, deal with that lizard and get me out of this damn sewer. I think the water can flow horizontal, it's not a mistake, but funny that he's the only one that chose this direction. There's a split second our brain needs to see if this is Cap's front or back. Let me try a quick edit. How about this? Very cute. Here's a fun take as well on the concept by Joaquin. Not bathing in the sewer, but bathing in sonar waves. Good stuff. Maybe drop this hamstring a bit lower because it is in the front of the other leg. Cool. Nice hard edge 3-tone shadow. Check out this masterpiece by Eli from Dark Adam Studio. Now that's a sewer shot. I like how the movement is like the Wolverine head turn. Great circular effects in the water, jagged connecting blots, check, tons of detail. Robert Crumb Psychedelic 60s meets Ed Piskor, meets Popeye meets Ninja Turtles. Creates an instant nostalgic connection. Love it. This one is also spot on by that lizard guy. Great froth effect and retro aged coloring. Rough inking in the figure and background blends nicely into a style, but doesn't feel rushed. That light effect here, very good. The yellow highlight on the lizard, yes, very cool. Then a nice cable from Paul here. Love the 90s shading on the metal arm. The rest of the drawing feels a bit thin though, or light for a sewer. Especially remembering Paul's Daredevil with all those degrees of dark. But very cool version nonetheless. When I got this from Sebastian at first glance, I thought it was Lobo, but it's X-Men 2099 Skullfire. I love it when you guys choose the lesser known characters. This is pencil, right? So I can see that you skipped the underlying structure and went straight for the clothes outline. Don't skip it, even if it's super rough. It always helps, and it even doesn't take that long. Raul sent me this, and then a few days later, pow! Very nice. Great diverse blots and color on the blood river. Nice streaking down as well. 90s bullet hole. Crazy look in the eye. Water looks really good. I mentioned the neck in my challenge description, and Ian did some neck practice. It's almost there. I would split up the traps and neck muscle a bit more though. Couple of necks by my go-to guy Will Spartasio for that. Although this one goes out pretty high as well. But yeah, great all-round fun drawing. This one just in from Christopher. Love this little rat. The water could be a bit looser, especially since there is a lot of froth on the body, so it means the water is going fast. But a good original take on the wall here, which is circular. I think he was the only one to do that. And I somehow can't stop looking at these pipes. really well drawn and colored, and they remind me of an artist, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Love this style. And finally, check out this one by James. Pow! I saw some of James' art online and dropped him a message with a link to the challenge. So happy he joined in, and definitely use the lasso tool on the blots. Very unique inking style and coloring. That sewer water flowing in the mouth is just such a great touch. Hey, he's got his healing factor right. Alright, thank you guys for all this amazing art. Check the link in the description if you want to join in next time. Like and subscribe if you want to spread the word. Or hey, if you like an artist, why not send them the link to the challenge like I did with James? Because man, is it a good learning experience to see the same pose done in different styles. See you next time. Bye.